Secretary Esperon, welcome to The Source, and thank you for your time, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Pinky, for having me here. Magandang umaga po sa mga taga-subaybay at taga-panood ng The Source. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me start with this. Yung Makabayan Bloc po was a no-show in the Senate hearing that was held November 3. They sent a letter to Senator Ping Lacson, and they said that they were hoping that the Senate will not be used for red tagging or terrorist tagging by the government. What is your reaction to their not showing up in the Senate hearing? What message did that send to you?
Well, that was another case of democratic space that was wasted. I do not know the reasons, but I think they could not defend themselves in the open. You know, in the Senate, we take our oath to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Siguro baka hindi nila kayang gawin yon. They are probably more fit for the streets in what they call parliament of the streets. And so, anyway, Senator Lacson has said that they will invite them again. He will invite them again. And of course, if invited, we will join. And I would prefer that we invited again so that we could have a face-to-face interaction with them. They are challenging us instead to bring to the court our allegations, to file cases. Well, I'd like to inform them that we have been doing that. One of the classic examples is when I was Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, I brought them to court for the torture and murders of their own ranks in Inupacan Leyte. So we'll go to court as they want. But if you could attend the next hearing, if they could attend the next hearing, we would appreciate it. We would like to come face to face with them.
Let's talk about that Senate hearing. Obviously, very one-sided because the Makabayan Bloc did not show up, although their lawyer was there. So, what was discussed? A number of things discussed, sir. The alleged recruitment of the NPA of minors and the tagging of organizations and individuals to the CPP. I want to talk about this first because Ella Colmenares, who's a sister of Angel Locsin, yung witness, which some say is the star witness of the NTF-ELCAC, si Mr. Jeffrey Celis, was saying that she was an NPA in Quezon. I met her. But it didn't seem like he said anything more about Ella Colmenares. Am I right, sir?
In the hearing, aside from Jerry Celis, there were 22 other former rebels that were ready to testify, and one was personally present, aside from Celis, and 3 others testified via virtually, and they have testified that there were 2 of them who were in Polillo Island at the same time that Miss Ella Colmenares was in that island as an NPA. And so we hope they can refute that in open, but we stand by that allegation, by that charge.
But I just want to make sure about this Mr. Celis, si Jeffrey Celis. Yun lang po yung sinabi niya, hindi ho ba na she was an NPA in Quezon, I met her, period.
I am not sure his exact words about Miss Ella Colmenares, but we have witnesses, other witnesses who were in Polillo Island with her, together with her.
Okay, but Secretary, to you personally, did he give any more information regarding Ella Colmenares? May nasabi pa ho ba siyang dagdag na detalye? Saan, kailan, paano, ilang beses niyang nakita, allegedly nakita o nakasama si Ella Colmenares, sir. I just want to know if he added any more
Yeah.
information to you.
Yes, we have a written narrative on that, a written document on the instances when in sometime in 2005, Miss Ella Colmenares was in Polillo, and she pulled out from the underground only when she was on the way. She got pregnant for the second time,
Mm, mm.
so she had to
All
go
right.
above ground.
The progressive, okay. The progressive groups, though, I want to jump there. You already confirmed, General. Um, you already confirmed that you are monitoring the Makabayan Bloc, but you were saying that this can be done. It's not. It doesn't need a court order because you can do intel surveillance. Can you tell us more about that, Secretary?
Yes, by the provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act, if you have to conduct a surveillance, it has to be applied for in court, and it has to be with the permission of the court. But in monitoring, in intelligence operations, we conduct monitoring, and one way of doing it is by manual surveillance. We can do that in the name of if you are deemed to be a security threat or contributory to the efforts of groups that are threats to the security of the country.
But what is manual surveillance?
Manual surveillance is our operatives uh, doing the live surveillance uh, of the target.
How
We
so?
can do
Can
that
you give
as
us more
part of
information about
our
that, sir?
monitoring. Come again, please.
Yeah, but what exactly is manual surveillance?
Manual surveillance is the deployment of troops or personnel to conduct surveillance on specific persons.
Hmm. And they? How long has the Makabayan Bloc being monitored? Since when, sir?
Oh, well, they have been in some other associations and other organizations. I cannot give you the exact dates that they were put on surveillance, but once they join organizations that are deemed inimical to the peace of the nations, peace and order, then we have the option to put them on manual surveillance.
In fact, that's what you said, Secretary. You said undertaking acts that are inimical to national security and national well-being. So I guess what I want to find out to you, Secretary Esperon, what is it about the Makabayan Bloc activities that are acts that are inimical to national security and national well-being?
Well, we connect this to the Communist Party of the Philippines, the New People's Army, and the underground National Democratic Front. These three organizations, which we now collectively call the Communist Terrorist Group, are underground. They do underground activities. The Communist Party of the Philippines, by name, is legal because the anti-subversion law was repealed
Mm-mm.
in 1992.
Repealed.
But their illegal acts that they can commit were never deemed to be legal. If they commit illegal activities, then we go for them. We go at them. They are still targets for monitoring. As I said, there are underground
Mm-hmm.
activities, the Communist Party of the Philippines, and definitely the New People's Army is underground, and the National Democratic Front is underground. It is this National Democratic Front
Mm-mm.
which is actually commanded by the brain or the mastermind, the Communist Party of the Philippines, that infiltrates legal organizations. Legal organizations are those
Yeah.
that have advocacies, very good advocacies, Examples of this are Gabriela, the Alliance of Concerned Teachers, the League of Filipino Students. Those are very good organizations. But these are targeted by the underground organizations for recruitment purposes, for purposes that are inimical to the national security and well-being of the country. Because the CPP,
Well,
NPA,
that
NDF
that
are waging an armed revolution to topple the democratically constituted government, and they want power to themselves. They want the power to run government and the whole country for themselves.
here's the thing, Secretary. So, as you mentioned a while ago, these are legal organizations. They are legal organizations with advocacies. How does one actually determine or verify if a legal organization is actually really involved in illegal activities? That's one, sir. And then the follow-up question to that, um, I wanted to find out from you, Secretary, is there anything in Congress that these progressive groups are doing that are inimical to national security and the national well-being, sir?
Well, on the first question of how do you determine if they are doing illegal things? Well, one, when your members end up to become fighters on the ground, for example, Gabriela Youth members have been have featured in encounters in Palawan, in Mindoro, and other parts of southern Tagalog as NPAs bearing arms. How could it be that Gabriela Youth become fighters? How could it be that members of LFS from some schools end up as fighters together with the New People's Army? And so there's a very thin line between a legal organization with good advocacies and that of an organization that is providing manpower and even logistics and support and other kinds of support to the New People's Army, which is waging an armed struggle, an armed revolution. So there's a demarcation, there is a thin line there, but it is it is difficult really to detect it, but the proof is that those that come from the ranks end up in the ranks of the New People's Army and underground cadres of the Communist Party of the Philippines. And so there is the connection.
And okay, and then just a brief answer, sir, to my follow-up question. Is there anything they're doing in Congress that may be a threat to security?
They are not doing anything illegal in Congress. They are not. But there are underground organizations that they, whether wittingly or unwittingly, support, that are connected with the Communist Party of the Philippines and the New People's Army and the underground National Democratic Front.
Do you think, Secretary Esperon, it's incumbent upon government officials to, again, ask the COMELEC to disqualify them? For example, sir, in the next elections, are you planning to do this?
That is an option. It may not be us. It might be the citizenry themselves or groups that think that they should not become part of this party list system.
Excuse me. He says he's a former NPA member for almost 3 decades. I think he said about 27 years. How was he vetted? I need to ask that, sir, because there are concerns or even questions on some of the statements made by Mr. Jeffrey Celis in the hearing and also in the past. So how was he vetted, and do you stand by his credibility 100%?
Yes, he has been vetted, and we expected that he will be hit, he will be attacked, his credibility will be attacked, simply because he is telling so much. He is now bringing out to the open the realities or the truth about the CPP, NPA, NDF and their front organizations. We expected that. But I must say that he really was a student of the Western Visayas State University, and he joined the activities of the National College Editors, the College Editors Guild of the Philippines, which when I was also in my younger days, I truly admired those people who were there, and it was there where he was started to be, where they started recruiting them in that organization. As I must repeat, just like in any organization, we are not saying that the Alliance of Concerned Teachers members are communist. We are saying that there is an underground organization that is controlling them. And the majority are not even aware of this. In the same manner that Gabriela is not aware, the members are not aware of the underground movement that is there, the Malayang Kilusang Bagong Kababaihan. So Jeffrey Stellis, to us, as I have seen in his biodata, in his CV, is a very credible witness, having been in the underground. He was with the National Operations Department, and I have counter-checked with him several events, and he knew it. And he was also in my reports when I was the chief of staff.
All right. He's a paid military asset, according to Bayan Muna Congressman Carlos Zarate. I know you were saying that his credibility, Jeffrey Celis's credibility, will be attacked. So here, paid military asset, according to Bayan Muna Congressman Carlos Zarate. The NUPL's Jobert Pahilga said he actually knows Celis from before, and that he's not an NPA member. He's actually an activist. And he went on, Secretary Esperon, to give a timeline, because Jeffrey Celis is saying that he was in the underground movement. He was an NPA from 1988, I believe, to 2015. But you have Attorney Pahilga giving a timeline on Jeffrey Celis's whereabouts and career from 1994 to 2016, just to cite as example. He said that he was an activist at some point, an English teacher for Koreans at some point, a political strategist, a spokesperson for Mayor Mabilog. Then, sir, apparently, allegedly, he disappeared upon his inclusion in the drug list of President Rodrigo Duterte in 2016, and then now he resurfaced. Is that something that your team is looking into? Could there be any truth to what Attorney Pahilga's timeline is?
I suggest, Pinky, that Attorney Pahilga, or whatever is his name, that he attend also the hearing that will be conducted in the Senate. That is the nature of the underground movement. You will observe them probably as an activist or doing some other kinds of work, but actually they engage in underground activities. And so, was Attorney Porquilla aware of all the activities of Jeffrey Celis? I don't think so. I think I would like to question the credibility also of the lawyer that you are talking about. He can come to the hearings and tell his story, and let's validate that. I know that they will come out and attack the credibility of Mr. Celis. But what we are saying is that here is a witness that is now saying that the Makabayan Bloc is indeed connected intimately to the Communist Party of the Philippines, the New People's Army, and the National Democratic Front.
And in fact, sir, during that hearing,
So, I
pinakita
would
po yung
invite
video
Makabayan Bloc
ni
to attend.
Joma Sison.
Oh yes, Joe Masison himself came out with he was caught in a video clip naming Gabriela, Alliance of Concerned Teachers, Bayan, League of Filipino Students, Cadena,
KMU.
Kilusang Mayo Uno, among other organizations that are part of the National Democratic Revolution. Here it is. Thank you so much for showing it.
Okay.
I'd like to listen to that again.
Here's the thing, Secretary Esperon. He was interviewed on ANC and he said that that video was actually spliced. Ang sabi po niya, what he was doing was he was differentiating legal forces of the NDF from the armed revolutionary movement. So he said it was, well, he used the word stupid for the military to actually splice this.
That is not a very acceptable explanation of that. You can watch the video, and it is very clear that he was mentioning the organizations, and read his lips. He was saying the names. He was pronouncing the names of the organizations. It is an unmistakable identification of the people of the organizations that are involved in the National Democratic Revolution. Another thing, he founded the International League of People's Struggles, and they had their convention in Hong Kong last 2019. And the organizations, again, that attended that convention are these organizations that we are mentioning. The Kilusang Mayo Uno, Courage, Kabataang LFS, Migrante, Alliance of Concerned Teachers. They were all there in Hong Kong. So, well, they seem to flock
Right.
together. They did, in fact, flock together, and they've been doing that. So, the conclusions are very obvious.